If it's Sunday, it's a Sunday session with Jir and Alex. Just wanted to make a quick note. This is if you're here for the first time, because we're going live to everyone, this is kind of my chance to flip the script on Jir. Jir normally hosts, obviously, everything on his channel, but peer into the mind that is Jir. This is normally a members only show, but we're doing everything live today because there's so much to talk about. If you're getting stuck into the comments, which we love, Jir is going to be flagging some of them, and we'll go through them throughout the show. If you have a question, please feel free. Now is your opportunity to ask Jir something on a particular player, what he's hearing. We've got a little bit of an agenda we went through. But first, Jir, how are you? Lots going on. Channel's growing, booming.
It's first things first. If there's a lag on my end, somebody let me know, because for the last couple of weeks we've been doing this StreamYard has been playing silly buggers, and there's been a lag every single week, and I haven't noticed it. And I tried a different platform. We're back here because we want to go live to YouTube. So if there is a lag, let me know, and I'll put my hand over my mouth so that the audio syncs up with my face. I won't get a red card for it. Yeah, I'm good. Busy week, really busy week for Leeds. A lot of stuff kind of simmering under the surface at the moment, ready to just pop up. But yeah, I'm good. I've had a nice weekend, a busy weekend. Late night last night. We did the watch along for the England game. Jesus, that was a slog. The first 60 minutes of that were tough. And then we nearly finished it. We didn't finish the stream because we got 20 minutes from the end and breaking news came out with Pascal Struijk at 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday. So we dumped it. We went to talk about Pascal Struijk instead. So yeah, it's been a good week, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain. Been busy just with life and stuff like that. I'm happy to see some of this stuff start to get going with the club, because you just don't want another. We always talk about it every year, especially since the 49ers transition. Don't leave it late. Don't leave it late, especially with Daniel Farke, because his team seemed to get going, hitting stride towards that second half. So it's just good to see some refreshment in the squad. And a key member, let's dive right into it. Key member of Leeds United, a starter, has been sold to Brighton for $20 million. Pascal Struijk. He's a mainstay of the club. I mean, I think, first of all, we can talk a little bit about what he means to us, means to the club, means to the fan base. He is a true Bielsa, last of that whole group that got us promoted. He was a true player that came through that era, young, very time at the time that he did help that promotion season, and just very grateful for Pascal. I mean, what a bargain to bring in, and what a signing at the time. What were your thoughts?
He's been a hell of a servant. 8 years at a football club now is a huge amount of time. It's a shame we didn't get a one club player out of him. He is the last of the promotion win. No, Jack Harrison is the last of the promotion winning Bielsa side. Yes, Dan James was part of Bielsa's side the following year, but he wasn't in the promotion team. So of the promotion team that came up, the only two that were remaining were Jack Harrison and Pascal Struijk. And it leaves Jack on his own now, or will leave Jack on his own, assuming Jack's going to be here next season. There might be none of them left. I think we can assume Jack won't be here next year. So, yeah, a great servant to the club. He's a fantastic footballer. We've all seen him grow as a footballer, and we've all seen him grow as a man and a person as well. Like, he got married this summer as well. So, massive congratulations to him. He's off on his honeymoon. I think he has something that we don't have at the club. I think he's a footballing centre back. And I mean, let's be honest about it. Let's not look everything in with white rose tinted glasses. He has his weaknesses. I mean, the FA Cup game, we saw an error that led to the goal, and against West Ham there was an error as well. He can get caught out at the back, and he does have a little faux pas in him, but he has his best years ahead of him, and I would have liked to have seen him stay at Leeds into those best years, because I just think he offers us something from a footballing perspective that we don't really have anywhere else. So they've got a job on their hands. Left-footed, left-sided centre-backs are a commodity. They're a premium in the market, and they will cost you money. So I always felt he'd go this summer. I think we talked about this a few weeks ago as well, who we thought would go. I always felt he would be the one to go. I would have liked 25 million for him. And And it's really interesting when you look at the fan base's reaction to this. And over the last couple of months, I've had people in the comments go, give your head a wobble, 25 million quid. You're not getting 25 million for Pascal. And now the narrative is 20 million is not enough money. We should have got more. Look at Shay Charles. The situation there is similar. And I think it's who's willing to pay the money, what offers on the table. Is there a genuine risk of losing him? And I think they were a little bit worried about what happened last this season with Ilan Melia. Didn't want to see that happen again. But I think the key line that came out of the thing last night was he didn't want to sign a new deal. And he made that clear to the club. The people within the club were told he doesn't want to stay. He wants a new challenge. So you've got a player who wants to go. He's got a year left on his contract, and you might not have a huge amount of offers on your doorstep for him. With a year left, we would pay, in general, outside of Shay Charles' situation, every other year, look at the players we brought in. 1 year left, 28 years of age, 6 foot plus in height, less than 20 million quid we pay. So I don't think it's the worst price in the world to get for the player. Yeah, I would have liked maybe 25 for him, but unless there's loads of clubs interested in him, it's kind of a captive market. It's whatever someone is willing to pay. It's 100% profit, which is the most important part of this as well, which means it can be used from a perspective straight away this year. But you've got to go out and replace him. And can you get a replacement for him for less than 20 million quid? And if you can, it's a good deal. If you can get a good footballer, it's a great deal. But time will tell on this. And then time will tell to see if he is a success at Brighton as well. But I've no ill will towards Pascal Struijk. He's been a cracking servant for Leeds. He went down with the side, which fair play to him. Others didn't. And he came straight back up with us again and was a champion twice with the club. So he leaves my blessings. I just don't want him to have good games against Leeds when he does turn up down the road again, but I'd like to see him get a nice reception. So, yeah, nothing there at all. Player wanted to go.
Yeah.
Get what you can. And they've gotten what they can. It's a different market now. Like, it's players don't stick around. They just don't. So, yeah. Great to get it.
Yeah, that line wanted a new challenge, I think, was key. I think he's going to be, competing at Brighton for that position. I don't think he walks into that side necessarily as that starter. The other thing is he started to get a little bit of a injury spell. He's relatively healthy, I believe, last year, but started to get some niggles or whatever in him. He would go out for a period of time. Did get turned occasionally. I think in a back four it was tough. I don't think he would have survived the season had he been in the back four this year. But a back three, he was great, and he was very versatile. I will say, like, reminiscing about him last night, I was like, gosh, he was very versatile for us. I remember he came in a lot and played the center, holding center position. That might have just been because we were just so thin in those Bielsa years, but he played a lot when Calvin Phillips was out, and he had an incredible passing range. I mean, that was one of his things that I was just always on the floor that we haven't seen in a little bit from him. Excellent with the ball at his feet. Excellent in the just tackle. I thought his tackling ability was really good. And of course, we'll always remember that Harvey Elliott.
He could get turned, and that was that. I mean, again, if we want to be balanced about this, and we should be balanced about it, because we have an awful habit of slamming somebody down until something like this happens, and then all of a sudden we build them back up to be something that they necessarily weren't. He's a very good centre back. He was very good for Leeds, but I've said it for 2 years. Pascal Struijk likes to go on a little adventure at least once in a game. He heads off on a hobbit journey up the pitch, and leaves a hole. And when we were playing two at the back, we were getting caught with that. And it's only when we went to the three at the back where all of a sudden he had that cover of Yacobi all in behind him. So he could go and do that. And if he wasn't there, it didn't matter. Either Ampadu would step across and fill in, or Bial would step across and fill in. But he did have a habit of leaving space in behind him, or he could be overly keen to. And again, he's still a relatively young centre back, 26, 27 years of age. So there is that. But the question, I think, is important, because I think there's a couple of positions in this side. Can you upgrade that position? I mean, for example, have Brighton upgraded Van Hecke with Struijk? And I don't think they have. I think Van Hecke is an incredibly good centre back. I think he's really, really strong centre half. And I don't think Struijk is as good as Van Hecke. He may well be in the next 2 years. He might get to that level, and time will tell. But I do think it is a position you could get a better defender in. A better footballer, questionable. But I do think there's possibly better defender options out there as well. It comes down to value now. It comes down to, well, how do you make the pennies stretch now? How can we get a player in to fill that hole without affecting the transfer budget overall this summer?
Yeah. And I think they must be looking at that. If you look at Anton Stack being in that $18 million range, again, a little bit of a exception to that rule, but you have to trust, I guess, the people in charge right now, and the scouting departments, and seeing what they're seeing. And again, 1 year left on the deal. Are you going to let them go free? That can't be allowed. Next year you're going to let them go walk free. No, you have to. And you tried to re-sign him, and it just didn't work out. So you take the money off the table that you can. He's on the South Coast now at Brighton, and we move. It's unfortunate because he's one of the longest serving players at the club. He's the longest serving. Yeah, he's in the, I don't know what you call it, but he's in the captaincy line next to Ampadu. He's like second or third captain. So love him, but I think 20 million. You could say 5, but I'm relatively okay with it. And again, I mentioned this to you. I just think those Bielsa lads too, there's less tread on their tires. He's turning 27 August 11th.
It's a good point.
You know what I mean? I think you look at a lot of the players that played under Bielsa, and they're all broken, injured. Calvin Phillips.
They're all broken.
You could go through the list.
Every single one of them has had injury problems. Every single one of them.
Now, Dan, if you really want to group,
DJ, anyone that was in that Bielsa squad, because of the requirements that were put on them, their bodies haven't necessarily. It's taken a couple of them a few years to recover from it. Like Pascal's had niggles. He's missed a couple of last season. He missed a few weeks towards the end of the season. This year he missed a couple of games. So, I think you're right. It's a really good point. There is probably less tread on the tire, and he probably needs a different style and different approach. Look, he's been here a long time, and I just think we need to be careful in maybe over egging the. Look, we're prone to a meltdown, but I think we should be maybe careful about over egging the sauce on this one a little bit. I think it's a reasonably decent fee for a player with 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to go on and be brilliant for Brighton. And they're going to, as has been said by Rob Music in the chat, Brighton are going to flip him in 2 years' time for 60 million. But they'll have signed him on a longer term contract and made a deliberate decision that we bring him in for 2 years and we flip him. Right. So there's a goal there in what they do. Leeds didn't want to flip Pascal Struijk. Leeds wanted to keep Pascal Struijk. And that's really important context. Leeds offered him a new deal. Daniel Farke didn't want him to go last summer. We probably would have got more money last summer, but Farke didn't want him to leave last summer. He wanted him in the squad. And that's really important context, because if you're looking at a player, like take someone we bring in now. So let's look, argument's sake, we'll get to him in more detail, but Shay Charles, right? You bring him in at 22, you pay, I think, a stupid amount of money at 30 million quid for him. You pay 30 million quid. Do you then go, right, 4 year deal, in 2 years we flip him for 50? Or do you go, well, he's a long-term project for the club. We want him here at least 30. So therefore you have to offer him contracts to keep him at the club. So you're not flipping him then. So that 30 million outlay becomes an investment in the guy's career. Whereas with Brighton and Bournemouth, for example, they look at bringing players in, bring him in, keep him 2 years, flip him, sell him at a profit, keep the money turning around, because that's where they get their revenue from. That's how they generate their money. So it's a different model. And Leeds' situation here was, don't want to sell him, don't want him to go. Player said, I don't want to stay. What do you do?
Yeah.
Clock's ticking now.
Yeah. I wish him the best of luck. I thank him for his service, and I'm excited about what Leeds can do this summer. Let's talk about an incoming Harry Wilson. Just to kind of put a bow on this, because I know it's been talked about a lot this week, but we get him in the door early on a free. I just think position of need, wand of a left, as you always say. He's going to be Johnny on the spot a little bit. Calvin, I think, is the service. Calvin Lewin is somebody that depends on service. I think his service is going to be a little bit better too for our number 9. Yeah, I think it's a really strong signing, and hopefully just the beginning for the club.
I think it's a statement sign. You've taken a player who went away from one of your rival clubs in that mid block of teams. Again, they wanted to keep him, so that shows you there was intent there. You've got Benfica, Aston Villa, Everton. I mean, I was watching the Everton socials for the last couple of weeks on Wilson. They were very confident they were going to get Harry Wilson, like really, really confident he was going there. And what's really interesting to see, and Paul Brooker pointed this out to me, it's the what's been said about the move. Apparently, it's not just about the money. Obviously, the money is a massive help to get a player, but apparently he was very impressed with the ambition of the club, with the project that they're building on and off the pitch, similar to other players that came in last year that saw this and went, yeah, this is an interesting one to get involved in. So there is a player that's got a desire to be a success here, as well as just pick up a paycheck. Yeah, his best year was last year. Some people have said he's a one-season player. He's not. He's been very good for a couple of years. His best season was last year, but he is coming into his peak years. So you should expect that, you know, that 28 to 30 should be his best years. And we should be getting his best years. It is a slight departure from the previous model. We've gone for an older player, and same with Julian Brandt. If we decide to go down that route, you're bringing in players for right now, short term, right now. So there's a longer term project. Maybe you're looking at a few younger, longer term players like a Shay Charles, 22. But you're also then going, yeah, but we want some for, and that's been a problem in Leeds recruitment for years. We've never necessarily brought in players and gone, we need these right now at this level, not here. And I think that's a departure from that. But I think you look at the transfer fee, it's smart business again. He's cost you nothing. I think he would have looked at success of Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming here last year as well and seeing the chance to kick on here as well. And he knows the lads. So, I mean, I think it's a really smart bit of business. There's no guarantee you're going to have the next season that you had from him last year. But that's about every single player. It's always a gamble bringing a player in. And we'll see. But I think it's a really good piece of business. I think it balances out that attack. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Brendan Aronson now, because technically he's that replacement. That right-hand side behind the striker, Okafor on the left-hand side coming onto his right foot, Wilson on the right-hand side coming in onto his left foot, one of those 2 10s. And if Brandt comes in as well as here, are you looking for competition in those spaces then? And that could be interesting. So, yeah, good sign-up. Well done. Yeah, I like it. And nice to get it. He's not over the line just yet. It's not done and dusted.
Yeah, it's not signed.
The done deal stuff.
Yeah.
I can't put done deal on a thumbnail for a player that hasn't signed a deal yet, because we've been here before. I'm not rolling back. So we'll see. But
yeah, I mean, he's not in the you know, the kit and with the press release and the nice shiny photos and the video that's out on social media. I think that's a little bit of the 49ers wanting to announce it when they think a lot of eyeballs will get on it. I think they might want to do it after the group stage. Maybe that's just me. And then some people are going, who cares about the World Cup? Just announce the player. I don't know. I don't think that's how they want the attention. So
yeah.
And they want to make sure the full attention is on them for that time. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. I'm confident.
Comments.
Yeah, let's take it.
A couple of ones. I'll work backwards. Pierre saying, I hope Brandt doesn't turn into this year's Pajot. I think we've talked about this a load. The situation with Brandt and Pajot couldn't be any more different than each other. Pajot was going to cost stupid amounts of money, record club signing. Julian Brandt will be free, so they're not even comparable on a term of transfer fee. The situation as well, Leeds were given very positive noises that Pajot was coming to Leeds. The deal was done. The agreement was in place. Everything was done. Then he went to Marseille. Leeds are not the favourites to get Julian Brandt. Leeds are hoping to get Julian Brandt, but they are nowhere near. Roma and Atletico Madrid are labelled as the standout favourites in this. So it's very aspirational from Leeds. So Julian Brandt and Igor Pajot couldn't be further apart in terms of the similarities in a transfer. Effortless French is saying, what surprises me is not that Pascal has left, but that no bidding process. It appears that we've taken the first offer. Why? We should have stated that he is for sale and wait for offers. And there's a problem with that. The second it becomes aware the player wants to go, the value drops because the player is looking to move. And now the club are in a position where they could be kidnapped, for lack of a better term, boxed into a corner and basically told, well, he wants to go. You've got a year left. We'll wait. Exactly what we did with Harry Wilson. We offered 7 million last year for Harry Wilson to Fulham. They said no. Leeds said fine. we'll wait. And we waited a year. We got him for free. If you do that situation with Pascal Struijk, you could walk yourself into seeing Pascal Struijk get to January, agree a pre-contract agreement with a club, and be gone on a free transfer by the end of the season. You've lost everything on him. And that happened with Illan Meslier. Leeds tried to see if they... Leeds didn't get the valuation on the offers for Illan Meslier they wanted last year. They tried to hold out, and they lost him for nothing. So I think you've got to be really careful there. Is it probably the first bid in the table? Probably. Is it roughly Leeds' valuation of him? Probably. And I think that's probably why he went and why they've taken that offer. Paul Smith says, while a right footer can play there, you're better with a lefty. Only 10-12% of players are left footed. So they are at a premium. Yeah. And the way Leeds play out from the back, the passing direction from a left footer is more, preferable to how Leeds attack down that left-hand side. Bornau can't play there. He's a right footer. He's very much a right-sided centre back. The fact that Pascal's best mate is Meslier, he's left the club, probably helped make up his mind to leave. He's also very close friends with Jorginho Rutter.
I didn't know that.
Who is at Brighton. Yeah.
So
he's at Brighton. So there is that as well. Derek says Struijk wasn't getting a call up to the Netherlands at Leeds, even though he was good enough. Yeah, I thought he should have gone to the World Cup, but maybe there's something in that as well. James says the only reason why Charles, the price on Charles is, the 30 million quid is because there's a huge sell-on clause for Man City, and Southampton want to make sure they balance that out. I would walk away, but we'll get to that. Farke said in the past, if someone doesn't want to be here, then they can go, right? And that's exactly what's happened here, 100%. Wilson saga ain't over yet. No, not quite. And Pierre said, isn't Monday the opening day? No, the window's already open. The contracts expire at the end of the month, but Leeds can announce players if they want to. And I saw Adam Pope say, well, look, technically they're still Fulham players or wherever else until the first. They are, but we did it last year with Lucas Mecha. We announced them 4 weeks before. Players not signing, signs an agreement, done. So Leeds can announce them if they want to, and they've already essentially announced Wilson already. They've given that information to the Athletic to say we've got a deal in principle here. So we'll see him in a Leeds top at some point down the road, but it's done. Same with Pascal Struijk. He can go right now, and they've not. All they've said is there's a verbal agreement in place. He's on his honeymoon. It'll get sorted when he gets back.
Yeah. All right. Let's dig in a little bit of the mill, if you will. Zion Suzuki, there's starting to be some smoke around this player. Of course, the goalkeeper for the Japanese national team. Yeah. What's your take? We are seeming to be in a goalkeeper market now, with a couple of links. And Darlow, I think, has been rumored to be possibly negotiating a deal with us. Also on the Man U radar as a backup. What's your take on Suzuki and maybe the goalkeeping situation as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's getting really interesting around the goalkeeping situation. Suzuki's been bombing around for a while. I've been skeptical because of the price tag, but it's starting to get picked up by some slightly more credible people. All the noise is that Karl Darlow is sticking around and signing maybe as negotiated a 2-year deal, if you believe Team Talk and a few others. That's the noise. If Leeds are looking at a Zetterstrom or a Suzuki or another goalkeeper, you would imagine that Lucas Perry's not sticking around either.
Right.
Because why would you have a £15 million goalkeeper on the bench, especially if Suzuki's going to cost €30 million to about 27, 28 million pounds. That's a lot of change if you're not going to bring in some money from the other goalkeeper. At least if you can sell Perry for 12 or 10, you knock a chunk off that and it kind of makes it a more palatable number for a goalkeeper. Initially came out from Gianluigi Longari. It was a relatively credible journalist. I say relatively credible because they're in Italy, and at this time of the year, Italian journalists link Leeds with every player on their sister. So you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. But he's got a strong follow, 126,000 on X. And this morning, Alfredo Padula, who has broken stuff in the past before, he has 388,000 followers on X. And he's basically said this morning, the Leeds have been on Suzuki for 10 days now, as told exclusively by Gianluigi Longari, who says the Premier League side are looking with great interest at Zion Suzuki from Parma. In addition, there's already scouting from Aston Villa as well, because Martinez is likely to leave Villa this summer. I could see Villa spending that kind of money on a goalkeeper. He's 23 years of age. He's a good goalkeeper. And Team Talk described him as Buffon 2.0. And if he is Buffon 2.0, give him the money. Give them the money and get him in, right? But he's young. He's at the World Cup right now, so nothing's happening there, if at all, until at least after the World Cup, until Japan exit. He'll know Tanaka there as well, so maybe there's a conversation there that can help it as well. Then you got the Zetterstrom on the other side, the other goalkeeper, who was very, very good for Derby last season in the Championship, is a good age 27, international goalkeeper with Sweden. XGOT is plus 5 point something in the championship, which is good for a side that finished mid-table, well, upper mid-table. Suzuki's is 0 plus 0 point something, but which is still decent in a top 5 European league, especially at a club that are not competing for the title. But it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for Suzuki. I mean, you're getting record transfer territory for a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Territory, not actual record, but very close to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's indicative of where the club is at. So I think like when you start to look at stuff like that and there's creditable links, you know, we are probably looking at a goalkeeper, which means we probably will move on Lucas Perry. Again, all probabilities, if buts and maybes, but you know, it's probably, you don't want to go light in that area. You know, you just really want a good keeper. You don't want.
Yeah. We didn't talk about this, and I'm hijacking you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
This is a good point from Rob Nichols. If we're spending 30 million on a goalkeeper, I'd much rather spend the extra on Trafford. Now, we are comparing James Trafford to a goalkeeper that I would suggest most of us haven't seen outside of a couple of games of the World Cup. So before we judge Suzuki, unless you've watched a lot of Italian football, which I haven't, I don't know if you can judge him against anybody, really. Apparently, according to the Italian journalists, there was nothing more he could have done for Parma last season in their journey to try and get into the European spots. So the Italian media were very positive about him, and the Italian media don't tend to be that positive about anybody. I mean, even Jack Harrison, who had a relatively decent loan, got hammered by the Italian media. So they can be pretty harsh. And James Trafford's an interesting one as well, because there is some noise floating around the back end of this week that Leeds want Trafford. We've heard that most of the summer. Newcastle are keen on him as well. Villa will likely have a sniff. He's going to cost a huge amount of money, unless, which is the caveat to this, some of the rumors on James Trafford are Leeds are trying to negotiate a loan for Trafford. In that case, that's a smart move. If you can get him on loan for a couple of seasons, or even with an obligation down the road, why not? But I think Trafford's going to cost you around 40 million quid, and I think that's too much for a goalkeeper, if I'm being honest. But then I'm silly. I think 40 million is too much money for anybody. But that's just, you know, the market dictates the value. But yeah, I don't know.
I think I don't know. I think that it's just an important player. The fine margins, those saves are gonna they come up. If you can have a player that can, in a way, almost win a half or win a game by themselves by just being incredible as the goalie, I think it's important. So getting that position right, I think, is a good priority for Leeds. Go ahead.
There is a point to clarify. People are saying, like Jeff saying there, that Perry wasn't a Farke signing. Daniel Farke's own words are he has final sign off on every player. He said it himself out loud in public. I manage the footballing side of the business. I have final say on everything. Now, there was a compromise last year on Perry, apparently, but Daniel Farke did sign off on it. So it's not fair to say he wasn't a Farke signing. Farke agreed to it. He had Darlow there. He could have stuck with Darlow and had Meslier as number 2, but he didn't. So it's not 100% correct to say he wasn't a Farke signing.
I think he wants. Yeah, I think he wants somebody good at their feet. Don't you think?
Yeah, and I think
that's why he was so hard to get let go of Meslier, even though Meslier was making gas.
Ball,
he liked Meslier's ball playing ability. Do you think is that what he's looking for?
Well, if you look at Suzuki and you look at Zetterstrom, the two of them are known as sweeper keepers, that they're both very good with their feet. So there is that. He wanted Milinkovic-Savic last year. That was the keeper he wanted, which would have been an incredible signing. But Milinkovic-Savic made it very clear very early on in the transfer in the last year. He didn't want to go to the Premier League. He wanted to stay in Italy. And I think he went to Napoli or Lazio. Went to one of the light blue teams up the top of the league. So, he wasn't coming. There was no version of that where Daniel Farke got the goalkeeper he wanted because the goalkeeper didn't want to come. So there was a compromise made. I think the board or the recruitment team had recommended a different keeper. Farke wanted Milinkovic-Savic, and then there was like a compromise in the middle, and it was Perry. Who again on paper when he came in last year was a very good goalkeeper.
Right.
But he's not great with his feet. There, it's been said there, look, Dappy Reject says also Perry had a better XG. I think he had +6 or +7 XGOT when he joined Leeds. On paper last year, he looked like an incredibly good signing. And then you listen to his manager Fonseca 6 months earlier than we signed him, described him as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And he was playing in Europe at that stage. So I mean, it's not an exact science. You know, the difference between, say, a Suzuki, a Perry, a Trafford, and a Zetterstrom is Trafford and Zetterstrom are based in England. So they already know England. They know the leagues. They know the standard. They know the climate. They know everything. There's no settling in period with them. Lucas Perry is a Brazilian that's played in France, and now he's in, West Yorkshire. There's an adjustment, not just in language, but in lifestyle and culture and in temperature, everything. And Suzuki would be the same as Japanese international that went from Japan to Italy, and then coming across to West Yorkshire. There'll be an adjustment there, and they have to have time. And unfortunately, when goalkeepers are one of those positions where if they need time to adjust, don't get it, because a couple of mistakes and you're out or you're in trouble. So you don't tend to get that. So I don't know if you personally, I think going for a keeper locally is probably a better option right now to give Daniel Farke what he wants, but it'll come down to value, and it'll come down to what boxes he ticks for Leeds.
Yeah, agree. And I think they get the position right. We'll see what happens. Let's reset the table real quick. Just that you're listening to the Sunday session. This is Gier and Alex. We do this every week, every other week on the Leeds View channel. It's my opportunity to kind of switch it over to Gier and let Gier kind of be more of a guest rather than hosting. We normally do this to members. Best way to support the channel right now is to smash the like and get stuck into the comments. Gier is checking them out. If you got a question or comment, he's flagging some of them to be read out. A couple of the others, Brandt, we mentioned him earlier. Again, that was a solid link. We did make an offer. We are interested. I guess some credible journalists said it, or inquiring, whatever you want to say about that. But there does seem to be club interest in him. Again, one that's maybe aspirational. It's going to be difficult to get him over the line. He's probably not in a rush. He wants to create more of a bidding war to where he's at. But I think it does signal, again, interest of where the club's going. They want a true number 10. They do want to probably replace Brendan in that winger /10 role, which is fine, or want to have Brendan compete. But do you think that's a signal for, I guess, where the club's going and the type of player that they want? A tall number 10, when I looked at his tape.
Another 6 foot again, 6'1".
Yeah.
I mean, we're going through the list yesterday. Julian Brandt, 30, 6'1", free agent. Tick, tick, tick. That's a 49ers one. Then we went on and we talked about Shay Charles, 6'2", 1 year left on his deal. Tick, tick. So there's a Zetterstrom, 1 year left on his deal, 6'5". There's a method.
They want value, or the phrases now that's coming out is the market opportunity. They like those.
Market opportunity for me always signals we could resell this player for a profit. So if you look at Strand Larson in January, when they looked at him, they were like, yeah, he is a player we like. He's maybe a player we'd buy in a year or two if he stays at Palace stays at Wolves. He's going to go now. Someone else is going to go in for him. There's a market opportunity right now to grab him, have him, and then maybe sell him on in the future. And I think Shay Charles also represents a market value, depending on how high that fee gets. I think that's what you're looking at. I think Leeds would rather look at Shay Charles maybe in a year or two, but I think now he's going to go. So there's interest in him. Go in and get him now. And if you have to sell him, you're going to sell him for a profit. And Brandt is a free transfer, so it's relatively low risk. Nothing's free because you got to pay his wages, and he'll likely get a healthy signing on bonus because he's a free agent. Same with Harry Wilson. He'll likely get a nice chunk of change for signing on in a free deal. They've also got his loyalty bonus from Fulham for completing his contract, so that works out quite well for the player. But I think you're right with the buy this time situation, because we saw that last summer with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He could have gone to Leeds early in the window. Leeds approached him, and he wanted to play the market and have a little bit of a look around. And there was clubs that were interested in him from the continent. There was Manchester United and Newcastle at different times were mentioned with interest in him. I have a good friend of mine who unfortunately is a Manchester United fan, and he was convinced they were going to get him. He was convinced all the noise was that they were going to end up with him. We don't talk about football, but yeah, he was convinced, and then he ends up coming back to Leeds at the very end of the transfer window. So you could see something like that with Brandt as well. You'd hope he'd come in earlier and get used to it if he does come in. I still think it's an incredibly ambitious attempt to get a player like that. Julian Brandt is an exceptional number 10. Everyone wants another Pablo Hernandez. And I'm not saying he is another Pablo Hernandez, but he's a creative number 10 that's a year younger than Pablo Hernandez was when we bought him. We got our best years out of Pablo, unfortunately, in the Championship. You'd be getting Brandt in the Premier League. he gives us what we don't have. Creative flair. I mean, I think there's only 2 players that have more assists in the Bundesliga than he has over the last 3 years. One is Grimaldo, who's gone to Atletico Madrid now as well, which I think might actually help remove them from the equation. So yeah, it could. And the other one was the guy from Leverkusen, Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz went to Liverpool. So I was waiting on someone to do this. Fergal thought he'd upset me. I wanted Spurtjan, but he's gone to Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia, which has devastated me and Joe Blackburn. We're gutted.
You've been eyeing him for
I wanted him for so long. He's such a good player, but he's gone. So he's off the radar. He's off to Saudi. But yeah, you need to get somebody else. You need to get someone in there that can do a job. But it's a market opportunity, and as far as there's no massive outlay of cash up front, it's just signing on fees and whatever else, which would be there anyway. Great one to get. I still think it'll be very tough.
Let's dig in real quick to Shay Charles, because you said I'd walk away. There is a rumor I don't know if it's rumored or it's been reported, there is a large sell-on clause from Manchester City. Younger lad, but there is a walk-away number where it gets, you put in a bid now reportedly for 20, you upped it to 25. Now reports are saying Southampton want 30. Is this 30?
Yeah,
so
yesterday morning we did the transfer talk, and I was trying to find the Simon Jones piece, and I couldn't find it. Genuinely, I dug around and I was like, I can't find this quote anywhere. Saints Extra are not a spam site, so I was like, I would take what they say relatively serious, but until I see the words from the man. Subsequently last night, 6 o'clock last night, out comes the Daily Mail article that it's Simon Jones is on it. And it does say, it says Leeds went in with a second bid. Now, the interesting part, I suppose, the detail on this is, it wasn't a £25 million bid. It was a bid up to £25 million. And I think that's important, because that doesn't mean Leeds are offering them 25. Bonuses, sell-ons, additions, structure of payments of a deal. So there is that. Someone saying put Pirro in the deal, maybe. But I think that's important. I think maybe they want 25 million cash, 30 million, a deal of up to 30 million pounds. That way there's, again, the add-ons. I don't think Leeds transfer fee should be dictated on what Southampton's sell-on clause is, or Man City's sell-on clause is with Southampton. I think Shay Charles is a very good midfielder. I think he can offer Leeds an awful lot. I think he's quite dynamic. He's quite pacey. He's physical. He's got good passing range. His numbers are very strong. He's only 22, and he's already doing some pretty decent stuff in the Championship with Southampton. And we've seen that translate into the Premier League from players that we had in the Championship and players that we sold in the Championship. So, and he's very young, so he's got a high ceiling. He's got plenty of time. And again, I know people from the north of Ireland who talk about it, and they say he's excellent when he plays for them. Absolutely excellent when he plays for them. So there's a good player there. The reason I say walk away is, if Leeds have got a finite budget this summer, if it's 100 million quid, it might be more now with a couple of sales, but let's say the base number is 100 quid before sales. And same, this goes for the goalkeeper as well. 30 million quid of that is a third of your budget, just about a third of your budget on one player.
Yep.
Now, if you look at the language, Leeds need cover at left back. Leeds need a number 10. Leeds, and they need a number 10. How many years are we chasing a number 10? We need a number 10 for flexibility with the systems. And we probably need another striker, because Pirro's going to leave. And then you look at the Okafor and say, well, he is going to miss a couple of games this season. Willie Nanto's probably not going to be around, so he's kind of possibly likely go. So you need a replacement there as well of a decent level that can actually challenge. Because when Okafor wasn't available last year, Daniel Farke didn't play Willie Nanto. He played a midfielder. So he wasn't blown away by that. So you need somebody there as well. Now, sales could bring in that money and free up that situation. But for me, it's a huge amount of change on a central defensive midfielder. What he is primarily, and we've got Tanaka, who can play there. Who's playing there right now for Japan. We've got Ethan Ampadu, who's first choice. First name on the team sheet. Yeah. Bar none. Right? Walks back in when he's injured. Sean Longstaff took 6 months to get back in after getting back from his injury. Ampadu walks straight back in day one. Right? That tells you that. You've got Ilya Groove with Daniel Farke Trust. He's got a year left on his deal. That's an interesting one. Sean Longstaff can do that role as well quite comfortably. And Anton Stack was bought in as one of Europe's top central defensive midfielders. Leeds turned him into an advanced 8. So you've got a lot of them that can play in that role. So spending 30 million quid on a position you don't technically need for a player who might be a market opportunity down the road, might give you what you need. A bit more. I think he's probably got more strings to his bow than Ilya Gruev. And I appreciate what Ilya Gruev does for Daniel Farke in that role. But I think it's a huge amount of money. I think it's a massive amount of money in one position. And unless that was like, if that was a striker or a 10, a proven striker or a 10, I'd be going, yeah, makes sense. But a CDM, I don't, and I could be proven wrong on this, and I'm happy. I'm very happy to be wrong on it. He could be an incredible signing. But I just, depending on the structure of it, I think 30 million quid's an awful lot. Again, that's assuming they pay 30 million quid up front, which I don't think they would be. I think it will be structured. I think it will be up to. But he's got a year left on his deal. This goes back to Struijk then. He's got 1 year left on his deal. They have to sell players by the 1st of July. They have to, because they're not getting into the Premier League. So they have to, like us when we missed it, we had to sell Reuter and Gray. And so that could change rapidly in the next 2 days. So there's that. I wouldn't be giving them what they want. I would literally say to them, there's the offer. Take it or leave it and walk away.
Right.
And if you want to come back to it at the end of the transfer window, see how malleable the situation is at that point, you can do that. But Crystal Palace are getting involved now as well. If they want to spend 30 million quid in them, go for it.
Yeah.
Not saying he's a bad player. I just think there's more important positions that Leeds need to get right this year. And I'd rather see Leeds save the pennies in certain positions and spend it big on the positions that are going to make a real impact in terms of goals this season.
Yeah, I agree. It signifies, I think, what they're thinking. And I think that you're absolutely right. You have to walk away. I do think Leeds are kind of meat and potatoes. Outside of Brandt, the game is won and lost in midfield. So that depth that they continue to build in midfield, now you'll probably see a midfielder go out, I would imagine, if they were to bring in Shay Charles. But we'll see. I'm trying to think. Oh, the one that has just come up, and it's very, I think, pinch of salt territory, but tell me, it's the one person we haven't covered, is Roony Bardghji. Possible loan from Barcelona. Winger.
Do we need him?
We don't seem to play with out and out wingers right now.
Not anymore. No, we play with inverted wingers, or we play with 10s. And Bardghji can play there. He can play there. Young player as well. I mean, like he's 20 years of age. I mean, he feels to me like a Facundo Buenanotte replacement.
Yeah, where he'd just be
in around it.
Yeah.
Coming on the game. Start the odd match. Very highly rated player, Swedish international. Did he make the World Cup squad? I don't know if he did. He's not listed as part of the World Cup here. Last season in the league, he only started 7 games, and he plays on the right-hand side of the right wing. You just signed Harry Wilson for that position. You got Brendan Aronson for that position, and Dan James. Arguably, Willie Nanto plays some of his best football on the right-hand side. So you've got an abundance of players in that role. And he is left-footed. So maybe Bardghji is... Well, we'd like Julian Brandt as a second option in there, or competition in that position. We're not going to get him. Bardghji kind of does the same thing. He's younger. He's played at a good side. Numbers-wise, 1 goal, 1 assist last season. Started 7 games, 21 appearances in total. Own half passing accuracy, 94, which is decent. His opposition half is 86, which is very good. So there is some things there, but not a huge... It's not a massive sample size of games. He's been floating around for a while, Bardghji, and he came from, I believe, Team Talk initially. And I'm always a little bit skeptical when the genesis of a story is Team Talk. I believe Team Talk an awful lot more once it gets through to the point of there's talks being held and it's confirmed, because then I think Team Talk get a lot of accurate information from agents. But while it's still a possible one, there's a lot of throwing stuff at a wall, and eventually something will stick. But yeah, it's an interesting one on a loan. I said the same. I think I was talking to Adam Pope about this on the podcast, and I said I wouldn't be against bringing Facundo Buenanotte back on loan next season and getting him a full preseason under his belt and get him fit and ready for the side. Maybe Bardghji's the same bracket, but they're not starters for me.
Last one for me. Let's turn it over to the viewers. Do you think the club gets rid of some of the fat at the club? And I mean, just some of the players that are on loan. We mentioned Jack Harrison, Gelhardt, Vober, if he's viewed as not part of Daniel Farke's plans.
That's a question now, isn't it?
Yeah, Perot. I mean, I don't see all of them kind of moving. Dan James might be one just because of his injuries.
Yeah.
You know, some of the players that are just not getting game time, or just out on loan. Ramazani, I don't know if we haven't taken care of him yet. I see a lot of these players coming in. Like, you're going to see shots of some of these players that just probably won't be here at like Leeds University, where they do those
Jesus, does he still play for us? I didn't know he was still here.
You're gonna see like players blasts from the past, like doing those like VO2 max stuff where they do all those like that first inside Leeds training video that they do. But yeah, I mean, I can totally see Jack Harrison coming back to dab up the boys and, you know, max out his squat and everything. But what do you think?
I can see him leaving. I think Harrison goes. I think he wants.
I think he goes. I think he goes. But I just think like,
but I think the desire is. I think the desire from him is there this preseason. But I think last preseason he was having a look at things. I think
you know how Bamford was being interviewed like very early on in camp, and he's like, I can't wait for this season.
They took your car park space off you, Paddy. They took your locker away. Like they were telling you. They were telling you right away. You're not in the plans, mate. When you rock into Thorpe Arch and your locker's gone and your car park space has been moved. They're telling you without telling you, Pat. They're telling you without telling you, you know? So, yeah. Look, there's a lot. I think there will be exits this year. I think these will balance out the squad. I think they won't be looking to bloat the squad just yet. I think if they get into Europe, they'll need to bloat the squad. I think Harrison goes. I think Ramazani goes pretty easily. I think Ramazani's and Jaffier are probably two that are nailed on to go. I think the whole City owner made a massive mistake telling everyone his transfer budget, because you're like, well, you've got the money now, you can pay it, because he was good for you last year. He got you 21 G&A. So there is that. Yeah, I think Kershaw's right as well. I think there's definitely an option there of looking at some of the promoted clubs might have a little sniff around some of our players. Harrison being an option there. Look, tongue in cheek last night, I said, I mean, Max Vober could be an option at left centre back. And I was tongue in cheek. I did laugh when I said it. Some people have taken it very seriously. I was laughing when I said it.
Yep.
But that's a fan perspective, right? Daniel Farke has proven before that he doesn't look at things from a fan perspective. He looks at it through a management perspective and a work perspective. Max Vober's had a horrendous 3 years of injuries, but he was a good player when he came in. And by the way, I'm just removing the emotion from this. I will balance this out in a second with how I really feel. But just from a black and white perspective, Max Vober's a left-sided centre-back. He's an Austrian international. He was rated quite highly when he came in. The first season he came into us halfway through the year in the Premier League, he was very good, right?
Yeah.
He has been broken since then. Badly broken. There's a part of me that wonders, does Daniel Farke look at him as a backup option at left-sided centre-back in that three? Right? A backup option. Because he didn't fit in the two because there was loads of players, and what was the point? He ended up playing a fullback, right? So, I mean, someone's saying the best of Vober is better than Pascal. The problem with Vober is he played 35 minutes of football last season because of injuries. So, as they always say, the best ability is availability. And Max Vober hasn't been available. Now, Wayne is saying the point there. Ruined his own career. Right. So let's flip it. The emotional side of things as a fan are, I don't think I'll ever want to see Max Vober in a Leeds shirt again.
Right.
Right. As a fan, that bridge is burned. I think, look, it's not worked out. Just everyone part ways and go away. That's a fan perspective. That's how I feel about it, right? But, you know, feelings are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, you know? So I don't know if Daniel Farke looks at it that way.
Well, Farke, he's also got that ego. Well, he's got that ego with, he's like, look at Willie Nanto. Everybody hated him. Now everybody's singing his name. He said the same thing about Aronson.
He did try it with Jack Harrison. He did try with Jack Harrison.
He did try, yeah. That's true. Does he feel the same way? I think Vober was disappointing that he left. He was one of the 4 players I thought we needed to keep when we got relegated. I thought,
he didn't want to stay. They made him captain in preseason.
Didn't stay, but
he wore the captain's armband in a preseason friendly and then asked for him. Did the photo shoot for the new kit and then asked to leave.
Oh yeah, and just those relegation, those release clauses were just
they were awful.
I mean, it's not unusual that there something like that in there, but the fact that they were on loan all the time, it's like you'd rather just sell these players. And here we are now, 3-4 years later, still talking about Max Vober. So We'll see. Obviously, I think he's kind of keen. There was a quote right here that came out that he's keen to at least come back and train. so we'll see. I'm optimistic that There's a nice
However,
quote too
Alex,
that there was a great quote that I think Parag came out and said, "We want players that want to be Leeds." I mean, that was just
yeah,
right after the Ampadu signing, and that is so. I think he's realized, because he was minority owner during that time. He realized that how important that is. You got to want to be here. You got to buy in, and you got to put in, effort. So let's turn it
there's
over
a
to
flip
the
side. There's a flip side to the Vobra thing, right? He said that he wants to come back and train, right?
Yeah.
He also said he hasn't heard from Leeds.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is Leeds telling you, don't really care if you come back. We'd rather you didn't. You're going to be in the way, Yeah. And again, when he does come back, so Leeds are going to go off to the States with this tour. It'll be interesting to see what Leeds squad goes and does the local games, because they will have a split in that squad. They will go off and play likes of, I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but they'll probably go and play the likes of Harrogate and local sides as well with the under-21s. They'll need preseason games as well. It'd be interesting to see, does Vobra go with them or does he go with the senior squad? And that will probably dictate where Daniel Farke's plans are if he does come back at all. And I'm the same as everybody. I'm all for a redemption arc, right? Prove me. I love being proved wrong. Prove me wrong, right? I don't know if he's got the stomach for it, Vobra. I don't. But if and I don't care who you are, what you've done, as long as you play well for Leeds. And again, I don't know if he's done that when he has been available for Leeds. So I'm just spitballing it and throwing it out there as a hypothetical situation. Would it surprise you if Daniel Farke went, yeah, you can do an option for me at left centre back as a backup? Still bring in one, but that's his cover. Didn't have one last year. Does he just go, yeah, you can probably do a job on the bench? And it wouldn't shock me. Not saying it'll happen, but it wouldn't shock me. But again, trying to put my head inside Daniel Farke, how he thinks about things. Because again, last season, Jack Harrison were like, yeah, he's not coming back. And they look at Daniel Farke's preseason, you're like, yeah, he could probably do a job of fullback for us and give us a bit of cover on that left-hand side. We figured out pretty quickly he couldn't.
Yeah.
But he had a crack at it. So I wouldn't be shocked. But I think Leeds need to go, and that's important. The chat then. Jump back into the chat before we wrap up. So there's a couple of trying to work backwards again. I've done. Mr. Ranthorpe says he's very slow. Wilson, are people aware of this? Yes. Not being brought in to burn players to an end line, being brought to cut inside and shoot or cut inside and cross. He's been brought in as a 10 more than a wide player. But
right, and maybe you play a player like the wing backs are fairly quick, especially.
He'll go inside and they'll go outside him. Yeah, and then you look at Lincoln play with Caverleon. That's how I
don't think they're looking to really, I guess, to use a Bielsa phrase, express themselves up the pitch with him.
Jesus, Daniel Farke letting the side express themselves? Come on. Garrett says, Garrett Holland, Gaz, how you doing, mate? I, by the way, know this man a very long time. Good guy. Garrett says, Okafor looks like a guy that is unable to do a season, so definitely need cover for him. Yeah, he what was it Farke said about him? He's the kind of player who his 100% is over short distances, so he tends to burn himself out in games quite early because he's not jogging around the park, he's sprinting and it's bursts. So yeah, I think there is cover needed there. Jeffrey says, I think Gruev goes if Charles comes in. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Sean Longstaff went. Him changing an agent seems odd because you're on a 4-year deal, 3-year deal. Why would you change agents unless you're looking for someone to negotiate something for you? So I want to keep an eye on Sean Longstaff. I don't know, but I'm guessing again. Effortless French says 30 million crazy for Charles. Take Angelo Stiller, 24, German international class, and had 35 million release clause, need to buy smarter. And I think the 49ers have bought smart in every transfer window we've been in. And I wonder with Charles, does it get to a point where you think, look, he's a player that we like, but there is a UK tax on this, and we can get better value on the continent than we did last year with Stack. I think there's a point there. Mr. Ranthorpe again says, we desperately need to improve the right side, a good false 10 winger to correct something which looked unbalanced last season. I think that's what Wilson's there for. That's what Brandt, I think, they're looking for as well. Sean O'Kane says he was good, but he had mistakes in him. We need to upgrade with more consistency. But good luck at him if we have to move on. That's about Stroke. Sorry, it's about Stroke. Moinala says cheers and greetings from North Carolina. Pascal is a tough one. Our defense was so sound last season. I would have loved to have continuity. I completely agree with that as well. Danny Rumsey, good afternoon. Danny says Farke wanted Newble in goal. 49ers wanted someone else and they brought Perry, and that was the compromise. Yeah, he did still sign off on it though. Dave Carroll says personal opinion on priority positions this window, still a keeper, and we got that one wrong. Centre back now, striker, and a 10. Yeah, I would also add cover to left back. I think you're getting close. Paul Brody, good afternoon, Paul. Perry, like every other goalkeeper, made a couple of mistakes. I would stick with Perry. He isn't suddenly poor. I think there's a valid point in that, but how long can you stick with a goalkeeper if you're conceding goals? That's the issue. Keepers. And then Pierre says, I hope Brandt. Oh, we already got that one. Cool.
Did you see the video with I'm gonna forget the other guys. Okay.
Sorry, that's a great comment from Tom. A Voba redemption arc would be like Titanic finally making it to port.
Oh, God.
I think it'd be like raising of the Titanic and getting it to port. You never know.
Did you see the training video of Harry Gray and the lad that we sold to Man City?
Storming the teacup. People are losing their mind over him wearing a Spurs top. His brother plays for Spurs.
I didn't even notice that. I don't even notice that. Yeah, I don't think that doesn't matter.
Yeah, there it is. There
training video.
He's wearing a Spurs training t-shirt. I mean, he's training, and his brother probably gave it to him.
But Gorman was there too, right? Is it Finley?
Yeah.
Gorman, who we sold
Man City's Finley Gorman now, yeah.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, we're getting the right players, So, no, I think Harry Gray. You look at Archie comes back and watches Leeds United games when his own team's in a relegation scrap. I've got no problems. I'm sure that family is extremely loyal to the club, and I wouldn't freak out. And he's signed, right? He's under contract, so
he's expected to sign another deal in a year's time. So yeah, I wouldn't. Hopefully, he gets a good loan next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Continue his development. We'll leave it there. Thanks everybody for joining us. His name is Gier Lynch. My name is Alex Simon. This is a Sunday session. You can find it every Sunday. If you're a member, we want to thank the members. You're the backbone of the channel. We also want to say, if you want to support the channel, best way to do is leave a like before you go. And that's all I've got. Gier, thanks so much.
Thank you, Alex. See you, folks. Bye.
See you guys.